going. Okay. It says I'm live now. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start over. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry if you guys are already on here, but I just finally got the camera and everything working on YouTube. So I want to start over and talk about some past lives. I was talking to someone today, and they're Christian, and I grew up Christian. So I have absolutely, thank you, Abby, for the heart puffs. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, like 20 already. Thank you. I was talking to someone today, and he said, I don't believe in past lives. And I said, I've always kind of thought past lives were real. I just didn't really know. I didn't know for sure. But after having done over 1,000 hypnosis sessions, and in some of them I see even more than one or two, sometimes even more than 3 past lives. I mean, I hear things that you just can't make up. Not only that, but people get really emotional when they do past life hypnosis sessions because they will actually experience and feel themselves in the pain and suffering of losing their child again. They will feel the sadness of leaving their family or of failing in that life, or they'll feel the regret or the guilt from having committed suicide or something like that in a past life. So I see a lot of emotion. Thank you, Ghost, for the rose. I see a lot of emotion in these past lives. Not only that, but I'm going to tell you guys something really wild that happened in a past life that I did. So I came in this past life with this woman, and she was like in a tent city. I mean, you could tell that there was war going on. She could hear bombs and, artillery going off in the background. And so she was marching and trudging, and I believe she may have had a child with her, and they were marching in this tent city in this past life. And so I said, wow, well, how did you get there? How about if you go back in time just a little bit before this happened, where you got displaced in this past life? Go back a little bit further. Go back a little bit further and tell me, oh my gosh, and tell me how you got to this point. Like, what happened? How did you get there? And so she took me back, and she had been living this normal life, and her husband was in the military, and he was kind of higher up. And so he actually had to go, and she was misplaced because it was too dangerous to stay where she was. And she had to leave and go to this tent city. Thank you, Janetta, for the heart puffs. She had to leave and go to this tent city. And so what happened was, then I said, okay, now that we saw your life before, now I want you to go back to the tent city. I want you to go back to where you're being displaced and all of that. Well, then she says to me, she says, whoa, I'm really, really dizzy. And I was like, what do you mean you're dizzy? She goes, I literally feel like I'm going to fall off the bed right now. And so I, did some calming light in her, asked her higher self to just calm her down and, fix the dizziness. So later in the session, when I was talking with her higher self, I said, hey, by the way, why did she get so dizzy when we were looking at that past life? And I will never forget what her higher self said, because her higher self said, you had her at one point in time, then you took her back further, then you brought her forward again. You were like flipping her all over on the timeline, and that made her dizzy. Like, she got dizzy on a soul level, like, basically, because, thank you, Ghost, for the rose, because you were actually taking her there. She was actually going there. And I was like, whoa, I thought it was maybe just like visions, or you're just getting this information. But her higher self said, no, you were actually taking her spirit and like going back and forth in time. And that's why she got so dizzy. So these are kinds of things that I'm just like, it makes me a true believer in past lives for sure. And I've heard so much from people's higher selves that you literally just can't make up either, that I don't doubt any of this stuff anymore. And so anyway, I referred this person who said they didn't believe in past lives. If you guys have never read the book by by Brian Weiss, Weiss, called Many Lives, Many Masters. I would highly recommend that book. It is fascinating. It's about past lives. And some other books, if you guys have a pen and paper, you can write these down, but I would recommend Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. Any of Brian Weiss's books. I know he's got probably at least 2 more out there. Michael Newton, I would recommend his books. And one of my favorite other authors is Robert Schwartz. And he wrote 2 books. The first one was called Your Soul's Plan. And the second one, the sequel, is called Your Soul's Gift. And those are really good books to just put some earbuds in and listen to on audio because they're really long. But they are full of either past life stories from people under hypnosis, or in Robert Schwartz's case, it is life in between life stories where they really analyze what the person was doing and why they chose to have their current life, the struggles they've gone through, what they wanted to gain or learn or experience through the various hardships that they have in this lifetime, and kind of takes a look at their soul path and their soul growth and why they chose these experiences. And he covers things like suicide, all kinds of topics that you're just like, no way would someone choose that. Priscilla said, I love Robert Schwartz. Yeah, I actually went to his retreat. Gosh, this was years ago. I went to his retreat and it was really good. But we did some group life in between life regressions and things like that. And it was just really good. So what was the last book? The last book was by Robert Schwartz, and it's called Your Soul's Plan. And then his sequel is called Your Soul's Gift. So just look up Robert Schwartz, Brian Weiss, and Michael Newton, and you'll find all their books. And like I said, it's a combination between past life stories and life in between life stories. And of course, I mean, I cannot leave out the beloved Dolores Cannon. Of course, you have to check out her books also, because she is kind of the grandmother of all of this hypnosis and has many, many books out there with all kinds of past life stories about higher self and past life. And I don't think she did life in between lives, but she did past life, and she would talk to people's subconscious, she called it, but it's the higher self. She would call it the subconscious. Do clients remember these past lives once you bring them out of the hypnosis? Most of the time, the clients do. And when I ask them, wow, okay, now that you're out of the session, what do you most remember from your session? And almost always they talk about the past life that they just saw because they felt it. They really feel the past life and they experienced it. And so they usually remember that the most. Here, I'm geeking out on stuff their higher self said, and they're geeking out on the past life. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, you know, what's more important. But thank you for all you do, said Kelly. Kelly, thank you. And then Jay Wu said, I just bought them on Audible. Oh my gosh, like, trust me. I listened to all of Robert Schwartz's when I was on the treadmill. I'd go to the gym and I would just let myself listen to it when I was on the treadmill, because I was like, it was such a treat for me because they were so interesting that I would only let myself listen to them when I was on the treadmill so that it would make me go to the gym and stay on there for a long time every single day. So yeah, that's fun. So got to motivate yourself some way. I'd be geeking out over both, said Abby. Yeah, totally. I geek out over the past life, but really the stuff the higher self says, I really geek out about that. I did have a past life, you guys, where someone was a rock. And I think I've told this story before. You guys can actually go in my catalog of my past lives on my YouTube channel, Woke Lightworker, and there's a tab called Live, and you can go through and listen to my past live broadcasts and kind of geek out on lots of hypnosis stories. But I had one where she was a rock and she was on the seashore, like kind of like you imagine just like a really rocky shoreline. And she was one of the many rocks on that shoreline, and nothing ever happened. Like, no people ever went there when she was there. I don't even know if humans existed at that time. I have no idea. But she said the only thing that ever happened to her was, well, two things. One, she kept getting wore down by the elements, by the rain and the water and by the wind and the sun. It would just kind of wear her down over many, 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 many years. And she would get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that was the one thing that happened to her. The other thing that happened to her was there was like this little plant that grew up in between the rocks at some point, and she got to watch this little plant like grow, and then it eventually died off. And so that was like the highlight of her little rock life. So, but it was meant to learn patience and just beingness and silence and solitude and peace. And again, just being part of nature. So you can look at anything out there in the world around you and just look at, wow, if I look at it from that animal's eyes or that thing's eyes, if it had eyes, right? The tree or whatever it might be, the grass, what might I be learning from their perspective? Because remember, the animals and these other non-animate objects, meaning trees, rocks, plants, flowers, anything like that, bees. I've had a couple clients who have been bees, honeybees. They don't have resistance to what is. Like, they can't have non-acceptance. So whatever happens to them, there's no resistance. There's no, oh, why did that happen to me? And oh, poor me. There's none of that. There's total and complete acceptance and just trust in the creator of all that is, trust in nature, trust in life itself. So if you were to look at it from that standpoint and think of it like that, like, just think how much suffering would be eliminated from our lives if we didn't have resistance to things. Like, wow, right? How cool would that be, right? I'll turn my camera just a little bit. Oh my gosh. Okay. There, I lost my camera. Okay. Oh no, I always kill spiders that cross my path. I feel so bad now. Right? Yeah. My daughter is 17 and she just completely freaks out if we try to kill anything in our house. Like, she just absolutely sees it from their point of view. And if I insist, because it's crawling in my kitchen cabinet or it's crawling on my counter or whatever it is, then she says, well, just make sure that you kill it instantly. Like, I don't want it to suffer. She's so sweet. I'm linking with my cat and her faith in Mother Nature. Yeah, literally, guys. I mean, okay, let me just tell you something. So I did a meditation, and this was years ago. I did a meditation, and I asked my higher self to show me what it would be like to be a whale. And so I connected my energy to the energy of a whale. And I felt myself in this meditation really, truly being one with this whale, almost like it was like sharing its space with me, with its consciousness. And it was so cool. And I did it another time with the zebra. And that was really boring because all the zebra did was just sit there and eat grass. So that was kind of boring. But the whale was like swimming around and stuff. And it was fun. So you can actually do that and ask your higher self in a meditation, what would it be like to be in that consciousness with that animal, and go share the consciousness with the animal. Ask permission, of course, first, if there is a whale or a dolphin or whatever out there that would mind you sharing its space for a little bit, allow part of your consciousness to share space with its consciousness. I'm sure you can find someone that would be totally fine with that and would love the company. And then just do that and see what happens. Maybe journal it and play around with it a little bit. Wouldn't that be fun? So Boffney said, thank you for the idea. Yeah. What if they have a soul contract with me to kill the spider? That may very well be. Or You may decide to come back someday as a spider or another little critter so that you can know what that's like. I don't know. I mean, you just never know. It's whatever your soul has as a plan and a journey for you. So that's why I recommended at the beginning, if you guys want to check out those authors, and I'll name them again, their books, because they're all full of past life and life in between life stories. We've got Brian Weiss, we've got Michael Newton, we've got Robert Schwartz, and we've got Dolores Cannon. So I'm sure there's many others out there. But okay, I want to talk now a little bit, and I'm so sorry if I missed your question. For anyone that posed a question earlier, I was busy fiddling around trying to get my YouTube working, but I want to start talking about healing. So if you have a really important question, then please resend it to me on TikTok. What is the role of religions on earth? Ooh, what a good question. Religions on earth. Religions on earth. Well, from a higher self standpoint, because I've asked this question under hypnosis numerous times, it serves a lot of purposes. It can serve as a source of safety and comfort for people, because as humans, we try to make sense of the world around us, because this is a big, scary world, right? And we're trying to make sense of it. And so religion seems to like take everything and put it in a box, as does education, right? And it puts it in a box and makes it like kind of make sense for us in a way, like someone else has made sense of it. And we go, yeah, okay. And it makes us feel safe. So we can feel safe in religion because it helps us make sense of things. Religion is also, if you look at it from the standpoint of religion, though, obviously, a lot of us would know kind of the logical answer to that is it's a form of control, because it's other people telling you how to think and things you should do. And there's different traditions in religions that can keep, sometimes females in a lesser role or submissive to males who get to kind of do whatever they want and have all kinds of wives or whatever it might be, right? And it's a way to control, like thou shalt not kill thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, and things like that. And just kind of sets like, we want these to be the moral standards, and we're going to have religion be kind of this box to keep people in. So there's nothing wrong with religion. A lot of people come here to experience it. I experienced Christianity like a lot my whole life until one day it just wasn't relevant for me anymore. And I found spirituality just by having someone else be such a bright light in an office where I was working. And I just asked her when she walked by my desk one day, I said, wow, what can I read to know more of what you know? And I'll tell you the name of the book she told me in case you guys are interested. But actually, let me tell you this, you guys. You can find my whole list of recommended books on my website. You go to wokelightworker.com, and I have a whole list of recommended, sorry, I'm playing with my necklace here, a whole list of recommended books if you look on the shop tab. And the very first book on my list of recommended books is by Mary Ann Williamson. It's called A Return to Love. And that was the book that she recommended that I read. And I had never, dove into anything other than Christianity before that. And it completely changed my life and set me on a trajectory of, where I'm at today. So it was pretty amazing. And it just happened by her being this really bright light who just emanated love and acceptance and peace in her life. And I was just like, I want what she's got, So humans like to sort things and categorize them and put them in boxes, said Bofney. Oh, yeah, don't we? We absolutely do. So I don't say that religion is bad. Any religion is bad or good. We just have to do what resonates with us and what we feel is appropriate for our journey at the time. So my higher self, my spirit team, reminds me of a lot of Bible scriptures all the time, and how this or that would fit into my life. If I'm having thoughts that are on the maybe more negative side, they'll remind me, what is it? It's Philippians something. I forget the exact scripture. It's Philippians, but it talks about whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever is of good report, whatever's honest, whatever's true, think on these things. Or an expanded version says, think incessantly on these things. So in other words, don't let your mind be filled. Do I believe in Christ? Oh yeah, I absolutely do. But not as a savior, so to speak. He showed us how we can save ourselves, I believe. But going back to that, so my team will remind me of different scriptures that fit in my life. And I just love it because it brings comfort to me because it was such a huge, huge part of my life for so many years. Ingrid, I'm aging backward. No, Ingrid, you're looking at me on TikTok and I have the gentle glow filter on, my girl. So yeah, I'm not aging backwards. But hey, it's so good to see you. You guys, you had a sign that said that verse. Okay, Stardust Astrology. Ingrid, if you guys have not seen Ingrid's hypnosis session on my YouTube channel, you have to check that one out. It is crazy. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. I can't even go into it. Like her past life, she wasn't human. I don't even know how to describe what she was. It's almost like she was like a paint swatch or something like that. Like it was just this crazy past life and the whole story of why is she here on earth and how did she get here and did she choose? Because she's like, I don't think I chose to be here. And yeah, she didn't. And so I'm not gonna give a spoiler to the story, but you have to go to my YouTube channel. And when you go to my YouTube channel under the name Woke Lightworker, just do a search on my channel under her name, Ingrid. And yeah, she said, yeah, crazy, crazy story. It was one of my crazier hypnosis sessions for sure. So you guys have to watch that. You left your tech career. Wow. You're going to be a death doula. Oh my gosh. That is amazing. If there's any other death doulas on here, let me know. I have thought about adding that to like my list of things I do and being a death doula because I think it would be so cool. My 17-year-old daughter would be an amazing death doula. But yeah, that would be cool. So it's so good to hear from you, Ingrid. Okay, can we ever restructure a contract midlife with our higher self? The answer is yes. But your conscious mind, you can ask for certain things to be done. And on a soul level, you'll make the decision whether or not you want to listen to or accommodate the human conscious mind's request. And if it doesn't align with your soul path, with your soul journey, what your soul really believes is best for you, it won't change it. It won't change contracts. It won't do any of the things that your human conscious mind wants it to do, but it could. It could. So, but it's something I've noticed is that, and been told in my sessions, is that our soul, our higher self is the voice box basically for our soul. So our soul doesn't really listen to our pity cries like, yeah, but it's so hard and I don't want to deal with this anymore and I can't handle this. And yeah, you're probably not going to get anything renegotiated because your soul is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to let you sit in that for a little while and figure out how to get out of your victim mentality. So yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. So, but if you come at it from a higher state, a higher frequency, and I guess it'd be almost like I would see it being like going to court. You better have a good argument for it as to why it would be best for your soul and your soul journey. But that's hard to do as a human because you don't know your soul path, because your personality, the you that's walking around here, is not part of the soul journey. I mean, it's just here for this lifetime. It's just a pawn in the game, so to speak. And it's not there. It's not there planning your soul journey from start to, I mean, there's no finish, but, oh, hi, Dougie. There's no finish, but it's not there as part of that planning process. So whatever it's asking for may or may not align with what your soul wants for you. So don't be surprised if it doesn't get reworked. And the best thing we can do is have, like I said in the earlier part, non-resistance to what is. So not resisting what is, but living in acceptance of what is, because that's what your soul has for you. So what do you believe the afterlife to be like? So it's very peaceful. We get a lot of healing in the afterlife. Some people are almost, and I don't know why, I need to dig into this more. I'm not going to pretend I know everything. Some people are on more of like a conveyor belt and they just kind of get recycled again. And other people go up into the spirit realm and they spend a good amount of time and they plan their next life and they do a life review and they meet with their team and they talk with their spirit council and they do all these things. And then other people, when I do their sessions, they're literally just kind of, they go to the light, they sit there and they're like, really nothing happens and they just kind of wait and then they get recycled again. So I know I hear this thing like, don't go to the light, you'll be recycled, go the other way. I don't know that that's really true. I'm going to delve more into that in future sessions. But anyway, so it just depends on your path and where you are. Thank you, Abby, for the roses. Have you seen severe allergies be related to past lives? Oh yeah, I've seen everything be related to past lives. Everything. Allergies, fear of water because you drowned in a past life. Someone who was really hungry and like starving and they come into this life and they're just like, they eat everything in sight because they're just like, oh my gosh, food, food, food. Yeah, so many things from past lives. And I'm actually going to get into that in just a little bit, okay? Carly Dub said, I just heard of a death doula yesterday. Love it. I've been with 4 loved ones as they pass. Ooh, a death doula is there to help people cross to the other side. They're just kind of there. So kind of like you would imagine hospice, but hospice is more like, yeah, we're going to take all the water from you and we're going to like help your organs shut down and all that kind of stuff. They do it more from the medical side. This is all spiritual. You're not administering any medicines, to my knowledge anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a death doula, but I don't think you administer medicines or anything like that. It's more of, I'm just there to help you cross over and help it be the most peaceful, beautiful thing you could possibly have. Because I just made a TikTok about this today and it'll be on YouTube and Instagram shortly. But if you have a lot of fear when you die, that could, not always, but it could cause you to kind of get stuck a little bit and stay more attached to the earth plane because you're afraid of what's next, if there's anything next, because you have all this fear surrounding death. So a death doula is there to just really bring a lot of peace around that. Maybe you're doing Reiki, maybe you're singing, and who knows what else you're doing, but it just sounds like a beautiful thing. If I don't want to reincarnate, do I have to? I don't want to come back. Suna, you are saying that as a human. You're not saying that from your soul standpoint. So your soul, I'm just going to say it bluntly. Your soul doesn't care what you want. Your soul is going to do what your soul is going to do. And your resistance is only going to make it more adamant for your soul that it's like, oh, you don't want to? Okay, sure. We'll see. We get you to change your mind. We'll give you some more lives until you learn how to accept, what's thrown in front of you and learn how to accept and not resist. So I had colic as a baby and failure to thrive because allergic to milk. Yeah, that would be a question for a higher self to find out exactly why you had that allergy. Does that cause ghosts when people are afraid of death? It can. So you'd be like a ghost. So you could possibly be a ghost, so to speak, and just kind of hang around Earth for a while. You'll eventually find your way to the light. It might just take a while. But in a number of sessions, I've actually had people in their past life, that little fraction of their consciousness that was in that past life didn't go on to the light. It was literally stuck there. They're like, yeah, I'm just like hanging out in this tree. And I'm like, well, what do you do next? They're like, no, I'm literally just hanging out in this tree. Like I'm still here. I was like, whoa, okay. So let's get some angels to come down here and help escort you to the light. Now tell me what happens. And then they describe these angels coming down and what happens. And then we follow it up into the spirit realm and see what happens from there. Is witchcraft real? I have a hard time believing someone can have that much power over you. With regard to witchcraft, Language is a spell. We have spelling. There's spells all the time. Our words are energy. They can cast spells. I mean, you can say something negative about someone or to someone, and that's like a spell you're putting on them. And so that's why you want to shield yourself and protect yourself every day. If you go to there's a video in my bio on TikTok, and it's also on my live tab on YouTube. It's called the 4 Must Do's every day. It's really about spiritual hygiene. So you just want to go look at that, and there's 4 things to do every day, and one of them is shielding yourself. So learn how to shield yourself, and I talk about it. It's like a 12-minute video talking about how do you shield yourself and cleanse your energy and cut cords and all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out. It's called the 4 Must Do's every day. It's on my live tab on my YouTube, or it's in my bio on TikTok and Instagram. So people only can have as much power over you as you allow them to, either knowingly or unknowingly, unwittingly. And maybe you have some sort of soul contract or agreement with them that they can do these things. Maybe there's karma being replayed. Maybe you did something like that in a past life, and you're allowing them to do it now in this lifetime, or maybe you just don't know. And so it's an opportunity for you to learn how to be in your power and how to shield yourself and clear your energetic space. So that's what I'm going to say about witchcraft. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. That's awesome. I've been with my stepdad and my mom and one of my past husbands best when they passed. That's awesome. What is the process to get started with you? Oh, so if you want to do a session with me, I have a 15-minute consultation call. I don't do a hypnosis session in 15 minutes. Like, I can't do it in 15 minutes, but it's where I get to answer your questions. And the biggest thing I do is ask you some questions to make sure it's a good fit. First, you have to be able to visualize or use your imagination. If you can't, you got to figure out why you have that block, why you can't visualize. And then you have to work on getting over that, because I can't go in someone's mind and turn that switch and make them visualize or use their imagination. So you have to be able to figure out how to unblock yourself in that way. So you have to be able to visualize. And then what I have you do is I have you practice guided meditations every day between the time you book and the time you have your session, so that you practice getting your brain in that slower theta brainwave state, which is the brainwave that we always pass through on our way to sleep, which is delta. But I want you to actually practice getting your brain in that slower brainwave state while you're conscious, because it kind of lulls away your ego or your personality brain and allows the spirit side to come in, and you can hear it more clearly. And so that's why you practice that. So you practice guided meditations every day, 15, 30 minutes while you're awake. And I have some that I pulled off of YouTube, just some random ones on my website, wokelightworker.com, under the videos tab. You can actually click there. I have some really good ones I found on YouTube. And then I also have a free meditation on my website called Meeting Your Higher Self. So you can go to my website and request that for free too, and see what it's like to actually meet your higher self in a meditation. So, and the other thing I always tell everyone to practice for your session, to prepare for your session, is you want to watch at least one of my full sessions that I recorded with a client on my YouTube channel. So like, for instance, I said, go ahead and go watch Ingrid's session. So go search on my YouTube channel for her name, Ingrid, and go watch her session or someone else's session. I think I only have like 10 out there right now. I have 4 more I need to get on my YouTube channel, but I haven't had time to edit the videos. So they're just kind of sitting on my to-do list. But some people want their face covered, and so I respect their privacy. So I need to, edit the video so I can cover their face and stuff. So that's what you do. But I need to have a 15-minute phone call with you first before I will work with you to do higher self hypnosis. But we'll look at a past life. We'll look at what did you do in between lives, and then we'll talk to your higher self. And I have several different levels of sessions I offer. You can get all that information on my website, wokelightworker.com. So I tell all about it, along with a list of questions, kind of ideas you can ask your higher self. So, okay. My husband has 100,000 spices, why this need for him? And he buy again and again. Oh gosh, I don't know. That's an interesting question. That would be a good one to ask higher self. But I mean, if it brings him joy, I mean, maybe he's just living his joy. I don't know. 100,000 spices. That's awesome. Is everyone able to connect? I'm easily hypnotized, but I can't imagine being able to do this. Wow. It's actually, I will tell you what most people say when they get out of the session is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so nervous and so scared because it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. Like I was all nervous and had myself all anxious for nothing. It was actually so much easier. So I give you plenty of coaching along the way on how do you connect to your higher self? How do you look at that past life? And it just seems like a really natural thing. We just flow into it. So it's actually a lot easier. If you can visualize, if you'll do the practicing of the meditations, like I said, I didn't say you had to perfect it. You just practice it and then watch at least one of my full sessions, because that's going to answer a lot of questions for you and show you that it's possible. It'll increase your faith in the process. That's why I have you do that. My voice is soothing. Feel free to go to sleep if you'd like. You can also go to my website and get my Meeting Your Higher Self hypnosis meditation, because that's my voice doing that one. I also have a free class on my website. Actually, I have 2 or 3 free classes on my website, wokelightworker.com. One of them is called Overcoming Fear. And I have a meditation that goes along with it that you can listen to every day that kind of reinforces and reprograms your mind about how you're safe. You're safe doing this. You're safe doing that. You're safe here. You're safe there. You're safe with your pets. You're safe at home. You're safe at work. Just kind of reminding you and reprogramming your mind, especially if you've got a lot of issues with your nervous system and you're in fight or flight a lot. It's a really good one to do. I would recommend going to my website and watching my Overcoming Fear one. But okay, I want to get to the topic, you guys, because I mean, we're just like burning time here as it is. But I want to talk a little bit about healing. And so, because a lot of people have mental, emotional, or physical things that they would like to heal. And you can work with your higher self. You can work with the creator of all that is, if you want to call it source or God, whatever you want to call it. I call it the creator of all that is because I teach something called Theta, THETA, Theta Healing. And in Theta Healing, it was channeled by a woman named Vienna Steibel, and she calls it, hi Pyra on YouTube. She calls it creator of all that is. And so I just call it creator of all that is. But with regard to healing, there's so many different things that could be causing. Let's start with physical issues. I'm just going to talk physical right now, physical things. There's so many different things that could be causing your physical issues that it's impossible to say, oh, you are experiencing this because of this, or you're experiencing, hypothyroidism because of this. Now, there are general categories, and I'm going to recommend a book if you really want to learn about physical healing. Well, actually, there's 2 books. And again, you guys, you can go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and on the shop tab, there's a list of recommended spiritual books. You can go there and it brings you right to the Amazon link. I get a teeny tiny commission if you order it within 3 days of opening the tab or something like that. But one of the books is by Louise Hayes, and it's called You Can Heal Yourself. That's a really good book. I highly recommend that one. And the second one, if you're really into it, and I wish I had it next to me, it's really thick. It's called A Metaphysical Anatomy, and it's by author Yvette, Evette, Yvette Rose. And that has a list of tons and tons and tons of different physical ailments and possible underlying causes. Now, is it accurate 100% of the time? Of course not. There's always exceptions to everything. And for us to sit here and say, oh, it's always going to be, if you have hypothyroidism, you're afraid to speak your voice. Well, while that's true, maybe 99% of the time, there's always going to be that 1% that it doesn't apply, that it's not correct for them. So I never give a hard and fast, this is what it is. Okay. But again, those two books are Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. I think it's called You Can Heal Your Life, but it's on my website, wokelightworker.com, under the shop tab. And then Yvette Rose's book, which is really thick, but it goes into a lot of different ailments and what could be causing it, called Metaphysical Anatomy. Highly recommend that, especially if you're a healer or you want to be a healer, this stuff really interests you. And Yvette Rose has a ton of stuff on her website, and she does free webinars all the time on healing. So highly recommend following her and looking at her stuff. Very, very knowledgeable. She started out, from my understanding, oh, thank you, Rosalina. You're so welcome. She said, thank you so much for the life-changing help you give. I believe I heard that Yvette Rose started out learning something called ThetaHealing. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about ThetaHealing. I have ThetaHealing classes starting next week, September 12th. And my September 12th class, I'm offering the first 3 hours for free so you can get a taste of what it's like. Now, it's not it's not going to give you the whole expanded version of what it is, because it's actually a 60-hour class is what I teach. 60 hours. But it goes so fast, you guys, I promise. And you will walk out of those 60 hours completely changed. Like, I mean, you won't even remotely be the same. You'll be well on your way on your healing journey. Like, it will give you the biggest kick in the butt to get going on your healing, emotional, physical, mental healing that you want to give yourself. Like, it will give you that kick in the butt, because it will give you all the tools that you need, literally all the tools you need to heal yourself. And like, no joke. I mean, I learned Theta Healing, gosh, was that back? I think it was like 2018 I learned it. And my spirit team told me to learn it because they said, you're going to need this with your hypnosis. And I had no idea what Theta Healing was, zero idea, but I took it and it changed my life forever, because I was already on my healing journey. And when I got out of the first 4 levels, which is the 60 hours, and it occurs over 4 weekends, you guys. It's not like you don't have to miss 60 hours worth of work or something. It's over the weekend and sometimes evenings. But I got out of that class and I said to myself, oh my gosh, like, I know, because I'm on my healing journey already, I know that what I just got through partner work and through the learning that I did and the healing that I got from the partner work, from someone doing healing work on me and me doing healing work on partners, that would have taken me 2 years on my own to do. Like, in that 60-hour class, I got 2 years worth of healing. It was incredible. And I was just completely blown away. So I didn't want to teach Theta Healing. Let's just say I didn't want to teach it. It wasn't on my radar. But then all of a sudden, one day I'm sitting at my desk, and literally out of the blue, it was in December, a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, my higher self said, okay, it's time for you to teach Theta Healing. And I was like, oh, no. Like, I am so busy doing higher self hypnosis. There's no way I could add this to my plate. And my higher self was like, yeah, you're going to do it. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I signed up, and of course, there were classes in January. So I had 1 month to move all my clients to take the instructor training. And I totally see now why my higher self had me do that. Like, I have grown leaps and bounds through teaching Theta Healing and through taking the instructor training and watching other people get the tools to learn how to heal themselves emotionally, mentally, and physically that they literally had no idea they had access to, or that they could even do before. It's just amazing. And so it will It will increase your intuitive abilities like 100-fold. You will learn how to go into someone's energetic space and scan their body and see what's going on inside their body and be able to read their energy like that and tell them what's going on with their body, and learn how to do healings on other people. So even when you're done, you'll be a certified theta healing practitioner, and you can actually use this in your healing business. Like I use it inside my hypnosis sessions. And not only that, but you will have the tools to use theta healing on yourself every single day. I'm going to give you guys an example. Here's an example of how I used theta healing on myself, just to give you an idea of what it's like. So anytime I have a trigger, so anytime anything upsets me or angers me or anything like that, I use theta healing techniques. Now, I was at I think I've told this story before though, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but it's just so relevant. I was at a 3-way stop. So I'm stopped here, there's a car stopped in front of me, and there's a car on the side. Okay. So I stopped, and the other car in front of me was already stopped. So he was going to be able to go first. And I just knew, like, I don't know why, I don't know how, I just knew that not only was the car opposite of me going to go through the stop sign, but I knew that the car behind him was going to skirt on his coattails and slide through the stop sign too. I don't know how I knew that. Like, I have ideas, right? I think I've maybe lived that scenario several times, repeated it, but we won't go there. Oh gosh. Okay. So TikTok made me do a little puzzle to make sure I was still there. Okay. So anyway, I just knew it. And I instantly like tensed up, and I said to myself, oh no, you don't. Like, you are not going to cheat and go through that stop sign on the coattails of the person who's in front of you. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not right. Right. So I was ready. Oh, thank you, Roxy, for all the different yummy goodies on TikTok. Thank you. So I was ready. Like, I had my hands on the steering wheel, and I was like, I already had it planned in my mind. Okay, when they try to go through the stop sign, I'm going to pull out right in front of them, and they're going to have to hit me, or they're going to have to slam on their brakes. And that's exactly what happened, you guys. That car tried going on the coattails of the other one, but I was already ahead of it. And I had pulled directly behind that car into the intersection. And the car behind him had to slam on their brakes. Otherwise, they would have hit me. And I guess they didn't want to hit me. And I was just being stupid. Like, oh yeah, go ahead and hit me. Just stupid, right? And then I got through the intersection, right? I got through the intersection. And I was like, okay, creator, like, why did I do that? Like, what was the point of me getting all upset and doing that? Like, what was going on there? And I tapped into the creator of all that is, and I was shown that my ancestors, that something I came here to heal on behalf of my ancestors was the belief that they're taken advantage of and treated unfairly, which is actually a really common belief among a lot of our ancestors, because we've all incarnated in different races too. Okay. So I was here to heal that, but creator told me in that instance, you've already healed that, Tracy. Now you're still in that mode of, you're not going to take advantage of me. You're not going to cheat me. You're not going to treat me that way. And you just don't let anything slide. Like, you don't have any grace for anyone in that area. And you're overcorrecting now. But you've already healed that on behalf of your ancestors. So you don't need to overcorrect. And you can save those types of reactions, but with more gentleness and kindness. And you can save them for the big things, for the things that really matter. And you don't need to react to every little thing like that happens, where you feel like someone might be taking advantage of you or cheating you, because you've already healed that on behalf of your ancestors. So that's an example, you guys, of of being able to see that it's not something from this life that caused me to feel that way. Because theta healing has you dig into and look, is it something that's generational that I need to heal? Is it something maybe I'm holding on a soul level? Is it something maybe I have lingering from a past life? And boy, do we have a lot of that hanging around, I'm just telling you. Is it something from a past life, or is it something that I'm reacting to that actually happened to me here in this lifetime? So in that instance, obviously it was something that was generational. So even just in the store the other day, here I'm standing in the checkout line and I'm waiting. You know how you stand there and you wait and there's like 4 different registers and you're just waiting to see which one's going to open first, right? You're not in any particular line. You're just generally waiting. And I was waiting for one of 3 different registers to open. And this guy comes up and he just starts walking over to the register that looked like it was going to open next. And I just said very nicely to him, I said, "Excuse me, sir, I was actually waiting for the next register to open up." And I didn't get triggered. I didn't get angry. I didn't feel like someone was taking advantage of me or cheating me or anything. And I was like, wow. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize that you were waiting and whatever." And I'm like, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's kind of confusing around here, whatever. So it was good for me to see that I'm actually like making progress. And I didn't go, "Oh, how dare he, do that, taking advantage of me like that, cheating me, trying to go ahead of me in line, Whereas before I would get my blood pressure up a little bit about things like that because I didn't know why that was a trigger for me until Creator showed me that's why it's a trigger for you, Tracy, because you came here specifically to heal that. But now you can just kind of take a breath and step back a little bit. But that's the cool thing about theta healing is we're looking at every single time something triggers you. We look at several things. This is for your healing, right? Whenever you want to look at anything you need to heal. Why am I experiencing this? Is it something maybe that's left over from another life? Is it something that I've inherited genetically? Is it something maybe from this lifetime? I mean, if you look at something that you're experiencing physically, did mom have the same issue? Did grandma have the same issue? You guys have no idea how many times I have seen little children see their mother or their grandmother suffer from, I don't know, let me think of an example. I don't know, seizures. Let's just say seizures, okay? And all of a sudden, you start having seizures when you're like 12 years old. And when I talk to the person's higher self, my client's higher self, they say, yeah, mom was having these and she was so miserable and she was suffering so much that she agreed to take, she not agreed, but she tried to take that on too, meaning my client, in an effort to help her mother. So that's what I'm saying. There's just so many reasons why you might be, hi, Jules. There's so many reasons why you might be experiencing a particular physical health problem, but you really have to sit there and not with your human mind, but connected to spirit in a quiet state or even journaling it. Ask yourself, why might I be experiencing this? Maybe even write down on a piece of paper, soul level, ancestral, past life, current life. And then just see, maybe use a pendulum and say, where's this coming from? Is it from a past life or whatever? You maybe use a pendulum, okay? There's lots of videos on how to use a pendulum if you don't know how to use a pendulum to get your yes and no answer. Just make sure you're shielded and protected before you use it, guys, just a warning. But, or just with your intuition and just go, what is my soul telling me? If my soul could say anything, what would it say? And point to the one. Be like, okay, what do I need to work out there? What lessons? Here's the next question. Why am I holding on to this? How is it serving me to hold on to these seizures? How is it serving me? Well, it's helping my mom. well, mom passed, or mom's dead, or mom's an adult and she's on her own journey. And I realize that now, and it's not my job to help mom with her health issues by me experiencing health issues, because duh, it's not helping mom by me also having the same issue, right? We kind of shine the light on it and go, wait a minute, that didn't make any sense, did it? Just by shining a little light on it, it can make a lot more sense. So then we say, okay, so why am I holding on to it? Okay, now we're going to turn to an emotional thing. If it's anger you're holding on to, or resentment toward dad because of the way he treated you growing up, or he was abusive in some way, you're still holding on to that anger. Why are you still holding it? It's a way for you to feel safe. It's like you putting up a boundary with dad, keeping that anger, because it keeps dad at bay. It keeps him away, and therefore you can feel safe. But wait a minute. Now you're an adult. You're not a child. You're not under dad's roof anymore. Wait a minute. You're safe. Wait a minute. So why am I holding on to this? Doesn't make sense for me to currently be holding on to that anger, because the only one I'm hurting is myself. So that's the first question you ask, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, whatever it is. How is it serving me? In what way is it serving me? Because if it's not serving you, you would not be holding on to that anger. You would not still be holding on to that physical ailment if it wasn't serving you in some way. Okay. Maybe it's breast cancer and you're like, it brought my family together. My husband was having an affair and now he's not. He's back home with me, right? I stayed just sick enough to keep my husband back home with me. I'm just giving examples here, guys. Figure out, how is it serving you? And if you don't know, go into meditation again and ask your higher self. I don't do only in-person hypnosis session, Jules. Jules is asking if they're only in person. I do all my sessions online, so you don't even have to travel. So save all those travel costs, right? No, I do them all online. You can actually go to my YouTube channel, Woke Lightworker, and see some actual hypnosis sessions that were recorded online to see how that works. But it actually works just as well online as it ever did in person, actually even a little bit better. I've had a miscarriage at 6 weeks. Can you provide any guidance? Stuck in grief. Okay, hold on. I'll get back to that one, okay? So when you're facing any kind of physical thing, this is a theta healing technique again. You want to ask, is it from a soul level, generational? Is it something from a past life? Is it something I truly picked up in this life, from this life? And how is it serving me to hold on to this? Really, really dig into that. And then theta healing will teach you the tools to really learn how to dig into that. I'm just trying to give you guys kind of a way to do this on your own if you don't learn something called theta healing. But again, I have classes. You guys go to my website, Woke Lightworker, and click on courses. There's theta healing courses. There's all the information on the dates and times. And I have a scholarship. If you sign up for all 4, I have a scholarship I'm offering to the next 18 people, because I only have 18 scholarships left. If you sign up for all 4, you'll get the 4th class scholarship to you, which is a $440 savings. So, and they start on next week, next Thursday evening. So it's 2 evenings, Thursday, Friday evening, and then Saturday during the day, Sunday during the day, and then 3 more weekends. So the first evening, September 12th, I'm offering for free, but you got to sign up. You got to email me. Tracy at wokelightworker.com, or actually probably just go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and fill out the contact me form and tell me that you want to be there for the free night on the 12th. And I'll give you the information on what you need to do to prepare. And you can kind of get just a little taste of it. Okay. So the next question you want to ask yourself is, what am I learning from this experience? Okay. So let's go back to the example of anger. You're holding on to anger. And then the physical example, the seizures, because you started picking up seizures from mom in an effort on a subconscious level to help mom who was suffering from seizures. Okay. So what am I learning from this? What does my soul, or what does my soul want me to learn, or what can I learn from this experience? So let's look at anger. What can you be learning from this? Well, you can be learning about what it's like to hold on to low frequency emotions and how awful it feels. And therefore you're learning, I don't want to feel this way. I'd rather feel happy. That's a lesson, right? We learn by experiencing the opposite. So you're experiencing the yucky, angry feeling to show you that's not really what I want. I really actually want to have the happy feeling, but I don't know how to get there. But that could be the lesson, right? The lesson could be forgiveness. How do I love someone through the eyes of the creator of all that is, not through human love? Okay, totally different. How can I love someone with creator's love, through creator's eyes, that did horrible, unspeakable things to me, that my dad did, or your dad, or whoever, right? How can I learn how to forgive? Okay. And we've probably all heard that forgiveness is actually just you releasing your expectation of the other person. That's all forgiveness is. Because you're never, ever going to change that other person. Okay. Forgiveness, you're never going to change that other person. So forgiveness is you releasing your expectation on that other person. So let's say it's dad and he did horrible, unspeakable things to you as a child, and you just haven't been able to forgive him. Okay. So if you haven't been able to forgive him, what are you gaining from that? What lessons can you learn from it? You can learn how yucky it feels, how awful it feels. And you can also say, wow, well, I really learned how to have personal boundaries, because now no one dares touch me. I have learned personal boundaries. No man will ever lay a hand on me. You learned that from experiencing the opposite with dad, right? You've learned how to speak up for yourself. You've become stronger. You're more independent. There's all these different things that if you really think about it and jot it down, journal it, that you can look at. What is the gold you can pull from every single experience in your life? Because if you don't pull the gold from it, you're going to be stuck in victim mentality. And victim mentality is a low frequency energy. And low frequency energy is what gets trapped in your body and can then cause physical disease. Okay, so it gets your aura all wonky. You get trapped emotions that vibrate at a low frequency, and then they start affecting the organs around that low frequency vibration, and have all of your other organs start vibrating at a low frequency. And then you go, well, why did I get this disease? How could I have this? Like, we don't know. So that's why if you want to have optimal health, you have to deal with stuff as it comes up. And that's why I'm telling you, theta healing is so powerful, because you get to deal with every single trigger as it comes up. So like me at that stop sign, that example I gave earlier, and if you guys missed any of this, you can watch the live replay on my YouTube channel, Woke Lightworker, as soon as we finish. But that's why I'm saying, as soon as you get triggered by anything, or you're holding on to anger or resentment, or feeling like, oh, I was betrayed by that person, or my mom, why couldn't she be like a good mom? Why did she have to be that way? Why did I have to have a drug addict mom? Or why did I have to have an abusive husband? Well, you're going to choose one or two things. You're going to choose empowerment, or you're going to choose a victim mentality, because you can't have both. You're not going to have both. So you get to choose, because it's your journey. And if you're going to choose victim mentality, you're choosing to hang on to these low frequency emotions in you that, I'm just telling you, are likely going to start affecting you physically eventually if you don't get rid of them. And that's your body's way of saying, ding, 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 ding. You've got some stuff inside you need to deal with. So I'm going to make it super obvious for you by giving you this physical ailment, because you're not dealing with this on your own. Like, as soon as it came up in you, this anger or this resentment or these feelings of betrayal or unforgiveness, like, you didn't deal with it. Like, you're not meant, the human body isn't meant to hold on to these things. I mean, look at the example I gave at the beginning of this talk, where this person in their previous life was a frog. Frogs don't hold on to betrayal or unforgiveness or resentment or anything else. Like, they don't have these low frequency emotions vibrating in their bodies. I mean, they die of natural causes, or they get eaten, or they dry up because the water dried up or something like that. But they're not dying of cancer or anything like that. I mean, there's not. So you've got, and they're not eating human food. So there's another trigger for cancer and all that, but we won't get into that. But you've got to deal with them as they come up. And so that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, if you get the right tools in your toolbox to learn, how to deal with these things as they come up, they're not going to accumulate in your body, and you're not going to be holding this stuff and living with these yucky emotions and this anger and unforgiveness towards dad or ex-husband or whoever it is, right? I have searched my heart, and I search it all the time, guys, to see, is there anyone I am holding anger or unforgiveness towards? And the answer is absolute no. Like, there is no one. And I have been through trauma. I have had people that have done the quote unquote unforgivable things. And I don't hold. I mean, I had to deal with it. It's not like it just was like, oh, I just forgive them. No, I had to work on it. And I used ThetaHealing techniques to deal with it, because especially my one sister, my full blood sister, I had to do a lot of digging on that for weeks. And that was after years of holding on to unforgiveness and resentment and a lot of anger, and pushing it down and being like, oh, I can forgive her. No, I really didn't. It was still there until I really dug all the way down to the root of that weed, and I dug it out using ThetaHealing techniques. So I know this stuff works. Like, I know that this stuff works. Okay. Okay. So how is it benefiting you, and what lessons can you learn? Find the gold. Whatever the gold is, you've got to find it. You've got to find it. Otherwise, if you don't find any gold in every experience you've had that you would label negative, if you can't find the gold, that means you're still stuck in victim mentality. There's just no way about it. You're stuck in victim mentality. You have to figure out what is the gold, the lessons you can pull from that experience. John said, hi, Tracy. Hi, John. I saw a frog 30 minutes ago walk in front of me on my porch and reminded me of your story, said Jules. I love it. Yes, frogs are so amazing now that you've heard it. Go check out my social media 3-minute video, 4-minute video, if you don't know what I'm talking about with the past life as a frog. It's called The Non-Human Life. Anyway, so then once you realize what the lessons are, you can work with your higher self to ask for that to be released. The anger, oh gosh, I don't need to be helping mom anymore. Like, with these seizures, like, oh my gosh, wow, higher self or creator of all that is, can you pull that? Send it to creator's light. And then, because nature abhors a vacuum, replace it with something else. Replace it in me with the energy of forgiveness, with the energy of love, with, sending love to them, love to yourself, replacing those negative low frequency things with higher frequency things. And then just really sitting in that, feeling it, basking in it, and truly, truly living it. And if your conscious mind ever tries to bring those things back again, you can just laugh at it and be like, okay, nice try. Like, I have forgiven her. Unless you really haven't, then you start all over again. Like, what is it now? What have I not forgiven my dad for, or my sister, or my mom, or whatever it is? And you just keep working on it, right? And it, like I said, it might be something from this life, it might be something from a past life, and that can be a little trickier to uncover and deal, because our human conscious mind doesn't remember all these past lives. So in that instance, you really do need to know how to tap into those past lives in meditation, or in a hypnosis session. If you don't have access in your human mind to know what those past lives are, or to know what that generational trauma is that you're here to sort out, that you're here to heal, that you're here to work through. So anyway, so what I do every night, I want to tell you what I do every night before I go to bed. And Dolores Cannon talks about this in her books too. So I did not get this idea from Dolores Cannon. My spirit team actually, I used to have diverticulitis. Incurable. I don't have it anymore. I used to have endometriosis. Incurable. I don't have it anymore. And I used to have Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroidism. Incurable. Don't have it anymore. So I know that healing is really real. And this is not everyone's story. This is my story. My higher self showed me that I created these things myself so that I could heal myself of them, so that me as a healer, I could prove that healing is real. Isn't that interesting? What a reason to create incurable diseases, right? So that I could prove that healing's real. So I can sit in front of you guys and go, well, I'm here to tell you that there's nothing that's incurable because I've healed myself of 3 incurable diseases. Yay, I get to say that because it's true. So then my higher self said to me, so Tracy, are you done creating incurable diseases to prove that healing's real? Are you ready to just know that you can heal yourself, or do you want to keep kind of going on this game of creating more incurable things so you can prove that it's real? And I was like, oh my gosh, like how dumb was that? But yeah, I'm done. I'm actually done. So with the last thing, with diverticulitis, I want to tell you what my higher self told me to do to maintain optimal health. And I do it almost every single night unless I'm absolutely passed out and I just fall asleep before my head hits the pillow. So I created something called a sacred healing chamber, and you use your imagination, whatever that looks like. And I invited all kinds of beings to be there with me. So different alien races, you can look and see what are some alien races that are there for healing, kind of go with whatever answers come to your mind. So I've got this race from Sirius B called the Ankanash. I've got some Pleiadians, I've got Arcturians there. I've got lots of Reiki master healers there. I've got my angels. I've got my guides, of course, my higher self. And I have this room that I imagine that I'm lying on a stone table, like from biblical days, a stone table, and it's got a lip in it about maybe, 5-6 inches deep. So there's a thin layer of water on the bottom of this table, and I lie on it. And I call this my sacred healing chamber, and all these beings of healing are all around me. And I just let my higher self know what I would like them to work on that night while I'm sleeping. Okay, that's number one. I let them know what I want to work on. So I'll say things like, I'd like them to work on my spine. So any degenerative changes in my spine, I'd like that all solidified and fortified and increase the flexibility in my spine and make sure there's lots of room for the nerve that goes down my spine to move freely so that it's not pinched or anything like that. And then I might say, and I'd like my entire blood cleansed while I'm sleeping tonight. And I imagine and I picture it going through like a sieve, and my blood goes through this thing where it comes out just beautiful, bright red and clean and crystal clean through the other end of this sieve. And I say, I want that going all night while I'm sleeping. So it's cleansing my blood. And then maybe I say, and I'd like my skin to get just this extra attention tonight, or I'd like all of my muscles to have like this internal massage on them so they feel relaxed and rejuvenated and refreshed. Or maybe I say I want my liver and my kidneys to be cleansed, and I'll imagine maybe another sieve where they're just having this fresh flowing clean water going through them, and almost like if you do a transmission flush on a car or something like that. Whatever it is, maybe I want my master cell in my brain to be reprogrammed. This is a recent one I'm working on, to train all of my hormones how to regulate themselves at the proper levels, premenopausal, that all of those organs and systems that are run by hormones can be at their optimal performance, however I word it. And that's number one. I give my laundry list. I say with so much gratitude, thank you so much to the entire spirit team, the healing team. And then I ask my higher self, wow, because I'm going to be sleeping, higher self, I would like you to witness or to watch this happen while I'm sleeping, because for anything to happen, the spiritual law is there has to be a witness to watch it happening. And so I ask my higher self to be the witness to seeing all of this healing happen. And then I go to sleep trusting and knowing that healing is taking place while I'm sleeping. And then I wake up in the morning, and one of the first things I do is I thank that entire healing team for all the work they did for me. Now, is it something normally that's going to instantly heal every single physical ailment that you have overnight? Not normally, no. Can it be really fast? Oh, yeah, of course. There's no such thing as time. It's just in our minds. It's like in this agreed upon reality that we have here. So there's no such thing as time. So you can have it happen as fast or slow, but then it's all also in accordance with our soul plan. So just know that if you're not seeing the results and getting the healing you want, then you go back to what we just talked about right before this is, okay, is this something at the same time, work on this? Is this something from a past life? Is it generational? Is it on a soul level? Is it from this life? Where is it coming from? Why am I holding on to it? What am I meant to learn from it? And how do I let it go? What do I need to do to let it go? It's not, oh, my dad has to apologize to me before I can let that anger go. Oh, heck no. It has nothing to do with anyone else. You're the one holding the anger. You're the one having the seizures. You're the one experiencing the breast cancer. You're the one, you, right? It has nothing to do with anyone else. This is your healing journey. It's not our healing journey. It's your healing journey. And you have to be fully responsible for it if you want to see the results that I think you want to see. So it's really just this cycle, this whole like circle of looking at those things and working on those on yourself, along with doing the healing chamber while you're sleeping at night and having your higher self work on that. And you can even make a meditation and record it, a recording, and put it on loop. And, I want you to do this, please do this, or whatever it is. Put on some nice meditation music and say, this is the music I'm going to have you do the healing to all night long, whatever. Make it up as you go. This is your healing journey. You can do it however you want to. That's just how I do it. That's how my higher self showed me. And within several weeks, my diverticulitis was gone. And that was, how many years ago was that? That was 5 years ago, just over 5 years ago. I think it was just over 5 years ago. And diverticulitis is when your colon and everything inflames. And you guys, it feels like someone is literally stabbing you with a jagged blade, like in your colon, like repeatedly stabbing you. Like it is so, so painful. And hi, Chantel. You're catching me at the end, Chantel. You're going to have to listen to the replay. But it feels like someone's literally stabbing you when you have diverticulitis. And so I was having a diverticulitis attack like every 5 days. And it would last for like 4 days long. I'd be in that kind of pain. And then it'd go away for like 4 or 5 days and it would be right back again. Like it was insane. I was having it so like crazy, beyond crazy. And people who have those kind of attacks normally have to have all or part of their colon removed because that's beyond repair at that point. But I told my higher self, no, I'm not wearing a bag, a poo bag. I'm not doing anything like that. Like, you have to heal me. Like, I have to get healing for this. And you need to show me how to do it. And that's when I was shown that sacred healing chamber. I'm going to show you tell you guys one other technique there's a book, and it's called Connecting to the Arcturians, I think that's what it's called, volume 4. And they talk about it in there, and the Arcturians are here to help the human race a lot. I have a lot of ties to the Arcturian race, but with the Arcturians, they teach this thing where you take in a meditation, just quick meditation, guys, you take all of your energy, like you gather it up from inside your body, like everything that makes up the real you, not your physical body, like the real you. And you imagine grabbing all of that energy and squeezing it down into like the size of a head of a needle, like so tiny, right? And it's gathered up and it's in that little tiny head of a needle, just a tiny little point in the center of your chest. And then you hold it, you visualize it, you see it. And then all of a sudden you let it go and let it explode all inside your body. And as it explodes, it's pushing out, you imagine, and you set the intention that it's pushing out all the sickness, all disharmony, all disease, everything that is not of a high frequency, everything that's on a low frequency, any trapped emotions, anything like that that's not, the highest, right? Let's just say the highest frequency. It pushes it all out and it sends just like this bright beam of healing light with that explosion through your entire body, pushing everything else out. And they said that's like a reset. So you can try that one too. Do that one too. I've done that a number of times. But if you really want healing, again, whether it be emotional, which you just need the tools to figure out all the emotions, because there's a lot and they pile up over the years, and we have judgments. We have all kinds of judgments. We have anger. We have betrayal, all these things that we encounter every single day. We get mad about politics. Oh my gosh, you're being triggered. Okay, why are you being triggered? Okay, that's something you want to dig on. It's called a dig. You're going to dig on it in Theta Healing. Why did you get triggered over that? Someone said this, or someone did that, or someone pulled out in front of you in traffic. Like any little thing that triggers you is what you're going to dig on, because that is something that you're holding inside, and it's an indication that there's something underneath it that's causing that. Is it this innate fear of I'm not safe? Is it this that comes up from your ancestors, maybe, right? Maybe their race was annihilated. I don't know. Is it this innate fear of that you're unsafe? Is it this, lost my train of thought now, guys. Something popped up on my screen. I'm sorry. But anyway, so you got to get to the root cause of why does this constantly get triggered in me? Why am I always angry when I get in the car? Why am I always angry if someone pulls out in front of me? Why am I always angry if someone cuts me off in line? Right? Why do I always feel like everyone's out to get me? Why do I feel like I never have any friends? Like no one ever wants to be friends with me. Whatever it might be, there's something underneath that your conscious mind is protecting and you're not seeing it. Okay? And that's why you're just dealing with the same thing over and over again, because if you knew what it was and you saw the root cause, you would still be dealing with it because you would have shown light on it and it would be gone. But it's not. Our conscious mind is really, really good at covering up and hiding these things because it doesn't want you to get at the root cause, because ego is all about division and fighting and I'm right and I have a right to be angry at that person and they betrayed me. And, that's the ego way of thinking. It doesn't want you to get in touch with what is the root cause of this. Oh, it's from a past life. Gosh, when he stabbed you in a past life, that's why you're so triggered by that ex-husband all the time, because you guys have got karma going on. Who would have known, right? So it's that kind of stuff that you're able to get at and learn the tools on how to get to that kind of stuff that then lead to physical ailments, diseases, and issues later in life because you didn't deal with it before it became a physical issue. And it got stuck in your body, it got stuck in your aura, your chakras were all off balance, and then you wonder why you've got hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, or you've got kidney disease, or you've got breast cancer, or something like that, right? So it's dealing with these things at the root, dealing with them as they come along. And I guess I'm just going to call it preventative maintenance, right? Instead of dealing with it when it's at a critical state, you're dealing with it before it gets there. Okay. Jules said, can I just keep you in my pocket? I can hear you all night. You're so funny. Okay. Now, S Cups asked me a question on YouTube, and I said I would address this. The question is, I've had a miscarriage at 6 weeks. Can you provide any guidance? I'm stuck in grief. Okay. So dealing with grief, I totally get it. Okay. I totally get it. I had a 5-month-old little girl who, I didn't mean to get into the story, guys. She died. My first husband was a narcissist and he killed her. She would be 26 or 27. I'm not doing the math in my head right now properly. Yeah, so that is not an easy thing to deal with. I get grief, okay? I dealt with grief for many, many, many years, okay? So dealing with grief, it takes time. In emotions, we have emotions because they're meant to be processed, okay? You don't ever want to rush the processing of emotions, in my opinion, from what I've learned. You don't want to rush them, but you don't want to stay stuck in them either. And you said stuck in grief. So I don't know how long it's been, but you words mean something to me. And you said stuck in grief. So why are you stuck in grief? How is it serving you? Going back to what we said earlier, how is it serving you to be stuck in grief? I'm just going to pretend that I'm you and I'm going to answer. I don't know if these are your answers or not. So if someone says to me, why are you stuck in grief? I'd be like, how is it serving you? Well, it's not serving me. That's the ego answering. It's not serving me. Of course it's not serving me. I'm sad. My child died. Okay. But it doesn't serve you to hold on to a hot pan either. And so you don't. You're not holding a hot pan because it burns and it hurts. So this must not be causing you enough pain to make you drop it. So why are you holding on to it? So once you get past the ego, then you can go, okay, let me dig into this a little bit. Why am I holding on to it? I'm holding on to it because I'm afraid. I'm in fear. I'm afraid that if I don't stay sad about losing my child, then it means I forgot him. And his life didn't matter. And I can't bear that because I feel so guilty because I probably could have done something. I probably could have, maybe I exercised too hard. Maybe I wasn't supposed to pick up that heavy box. It's probably my fault anyway that this happened, right? Or in my case, I should have tried harder to take my daughter with me that night and not leave her home alone with him, even though he was playing tug of war over my daughter and wouldn't let me bring her with me. And I let her stay at home at his demands because I was afraid I was going to hurt her playing tug of war with her body. So I could blame myself all day long for that, right? But that's not going to do any good either. So that's the ego's way of trying to rationalize it. So looking at it from the standpoint of my higher self, I would say, how is it serving me? I feel like it's serving me because I'm not going to forget my child that way. So then you go, what lessons am I learning from this? Oh gosh, that might be a little bit harder to answer. Well, I'm learning that my daughter's not really gone because I feel her around me. I know she's around me. She's actually given my case now. She's actually given me signs, wild signs that she's here, that you can't make this stuff up. So it shows me that there really is life after death. So that's a cool lesson. It shows me that we're always connected, right? We're never not connected. We're always connected. We're one, right? And whatever other lessons you might feel you're learning. Maybe you haven't really felt like you've learned any lessons from this yet. Okay. It might be too fresh. So when you can get to the point where you can say, these are the lessons that I've learned, or the lessons that I can learn, then you're pulling more out of the victim mentality. So you've got to get to that point first. Then you can say, well, gosh, I was holding on to this grief in an effort to not forget my child. But I can know that I don't need to hold on to grief, and I can still remember my child and never, ever forget my child. And, you know, as a matter of fact, I think I'll just go make a shrine in the entry for my child. And that way I know I'll never forget my child. So I don't need grief as a reminder that my child existed and that I loved my child. I'm going to go make a beautiful shrine or a painting or something to commemorate my child's life. You know, maybe I'll name, something after my child. And so it's realizing that I can still have what I want, which is the memory of my child, without the need to hold on to a low frequency emotion to remind me that my child existed. And so it's replacing one for the other. But that's looking at it from a higher perspective than from the lower perspective of grief. Because grief trapped in your body, obviously that's a low frequency emotion. It's vibrating at a low frequency, and it's going to affect the other organs around it. So you want it to flow through you and not be stuck in you. So how do you get that to flow through you? Do you write poems? Do you, there is a medium. I will give you guys her name. Her name is Medium Adelita. And you can find her. You can Google her, Medium Adelita. And her son died, and I think he was 27. He went to jail and he hung himself in jail. And to deal with her grief, she writes the most beautiful poetry about her experience and about her son. So if you go to her website, you can read some of her poetry. It is beautiful poetry. So she does that, and that's how she lets the grief flow through her. So be creative and maybe journal it, write it down. And that's another thing I would recommend too, to get the grief out, is to journal your feelings. Write letters to your child. Okay, you can do that too, because you want it to flow through you. You don't want it to get stuck. Any of these low frequency emotions, you don't want them to get stuck in you. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. So anyway, let me go back to what I was saying. If anyone wants to join me on September 12th for my first night, my first 3 hours free for Theta Healing, to get a taste of what Theta Healing is like. Yeah, art therapy, that's another good one. A friend of mine does that to process her emotions. That's great. Anything creative like that, right? Writing songs, anything. You could take a song that you like the music and just change the lyrics around and make it like a love song to your child or something. And play that and record it. There's even AI software out there right now that can record your song. I think that, if you give it the lyrics, it'll turn it into a country song or a love song or something like that. She says, yes, thank you for sharing. I'm sorry for your loss. So glad to connect with you today. Yeah, you're so welcome. It's never easy. They say time heals all wounds. I mean, it's been 25, 26 years now. So I'm not in the same space that I was. And so I can actually talk about it without crying and losing all of my dignity here. But it doesn't mean that I don't love her, and that I have a big poster. I have 2 big posters of pictures of her and how much I love her with Bible scriptures on them and stuff. And she was beautiful and amazing. And I've talked to her a couple times through psychic mediums. And like I said, she's given me signs that she's there. So anyway, but if you want to attend my first night, September 12th, you can find the information on my website, wokelightworker.com, or you can ask me to email you all the information, and I can absolutely do that with all the dates and times of all the classes. But it's 4 weekends. There's 2 weekends in September that we'll meet. There's 2 weekends in October that we'll meet. And I give you a week in between. It's every 2 weeks. I give you a whole, actually 2 weeks in between to practice what you've learned. But you will have a relationship with the creator of all that is and with your spirit team like you never thought possible. You'll learn how to dig to find the root cause of all these things, physical issues, emotional, mental. Where did they come from? Why am I holding on to it? How is it serving me? What do I got to do to let it go? And you may or may not be ready to let it go right at that time, but you'll at least have the spotlight on it and be like, okay, so this is something I need to really work on and look at, because this is something that's trapped in me and it's from a past life or it's from this life. And I need to work on, really forgiving that person. Because like I said, forgiveness is really, it's letting go of your expectation of the other person. So going back to the example I gave earlier of dad did something horrible to you, unspeakable things when you were a child, you just think, how could a dad do that? A dad should not do those things. A dad should do this and he should be like this. And that's you putting your expectations on another person. And should dad have been differently? Yeah, I mean, you would want a different dad. Everyone would want a different dad that didn't do those things, but you didn't get that. So you can either be, like I said, in power mode or victim mode, and it realize it happened. It is what it is. Nothing's going to change the past and what actually happened. So I need to release my insistence that he should have been different, because your insistence that he should have been different is not changing anything. And you're holding on to that as insistence, not him. No one else is holding on to that. So it's really you releasing your insistence, that your demands that someone or something be different. And that's really what forgiveness is. It's releasing your insistence that things should have been different and someone should have acted differently. That's really what it is. Beetlejuice movie fan? I've never seen Beetlejuice. Haven't seen it. Jules, Tracy, we don't know each other, but I already love you. I don't do hearts very well. Junior Carver, thank you for doing the work you do. Love and light. Pyra, if it wasn't on an evening that I'm celebrating a loved one's birthday on, I'd definitely attend. Oh, yeah. And you actually have to be there for every single class. Theta Healing rules are you cannot miss even 30 minutes of one class. Like, you have to be there, camera on. It's not pre-recorded because we do so much healing work in class. Like, we do tons of healing work in class. Like, I'm telling you, you will get so much healing in class. It's crazy. And you will learn things that will blow your mind. Like, you will get a solid 60 hours of education in spirituality, like a crash course, massive stuff. Anyway, so if you guys are interested, go to my website or send me a message on my website, wokelightworker.com, in the contact me tab, and just say, hey, I'd love to attend the first night and get more information on your Theta Healing classes. But you can find all that information also on my website, wokelightworker.com. And guys, I also have on my website a free 30-minute webinar replay of telling all about Theta Healing. Like, if you want to know really in depth more about Theta Healing, I did a 30-minute webinar. It's pre-recorded on my website under the Theta Healing tab that you can watch to learn even more. But don't wait too long, because the class is Thursday night, the 12th, and today is September 3rd, 2024, and it's September 12, 2024, and we need time to get you the book and all that kind of stuff. So we order it from Amazon. But if you're interested, and if you're interested in doing a session with me and you want to do a higher self hypnosis session, you can look at all my pricing and the types of sessions that I do on my website, wokelightworker.com, under the hypnosis tab. And you can watch higher self hypnosis sessions on my YouTube channel and my Patreon channel. I have a ton on my Patreon channel, guys, and it supports me. It supports my work. It's like $22 a month. And you get to see all kinds of sessions that are not on my YouTube channel. Really, really good hypnosis sessions. One or two out there where they had dealings where a relative of theirs was a reptilian. So yeah, super interesting sessions out there on my Patreon channel for sure. So I wish you guys all an amazing night. I went a lot later than I had expected, and I have to get up early tomorrow, so I need to get going. But I appreciate you all so much, so much. And I look forward to seeing you on my next live, probably closer toward the end of the night. Good night, Pyra. You said good night. Glad to catch you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jules, for everyone who was here. And I hope it helped you. And I hope you all create a beautiful and amazing healing room for your sacred healing chamber, for your team to work on you while you sleep. And I'd love to hear your feedback if you guys experience any dreams or anything about your sacred healing chamber and the healing that's done in it. Like, I would love to hear that. And I'll say good night to everyone. Bye, everyone.